Cortland Simmons back with you here at the CS Racing Report with our continuing coverage of Super Saturday and Sunday, Breeders Cup preview, the major preps leading up to the World Thoroughbred Championships to be held at Churchill Downs in Louisville, Kentucky. And in staying in tune with the ladies' first thing, we're going to transition to the Juvenile Fillies, which is going to be a very, very interesting race, as it always is. So a lot going on in the 2-year-old filly division, and BELLAFINA arguably has made her case to be the best juvenile in the country on the female side. Certainly will be one of the favorites when the smoke clears and the dust settles from these upcoming races. But she's definitely punched her ticket. She's 3 for 4 in her career already. Look really, really good in comparison to her Del Mar debutante run, where she kind of didn't switch leads the way you would like to see a horse, even a young horse that you would want in that race. Still won, though, very, very convincingly. But people were skeptical whether she wanted the added distance. Simon Callahan took off the blinkers to basically, take a bit of the keenness out of her. She was very, very relaxed, and that's one of the benefits of 2-year-old racing, that you can figure these things out as opposed to, hitting a roadblock on the road to the Kentucky Oaks or the Kentucky Derby, where you have very little, if no, wiggle room to correct that problem at the higher level, at a higher level of competition. So these little quirks for BELLAFINA are now being smoothed and ironed out, and they certainly were able to remedy the problem and fix things very, very quickly in the interim between the Del Mar debutante and the Chandelier. She looked very, very convincing, winning by 6 lengths over Vibrance, who was 4 1/4 lengths in front of Brill, who still is a horse, is probably a one-turn horse. Derlou for Bob Baffert finished well back. She was 13.5 lengths in front of Del Mar May. So there's no question there was a gap in talent in this particular event. And BELLAFINA, for Kaleem Shah, who's the owner, and for Simon Callahan, the trainer, is certainly going into this race as one of the favorites. We'll have to wait and see how the odds will shake out once all of the races, the major preps are contested. But she wins in 144.59, registers a buyer speed figure of 89, Timeform USA of 114. So not overwhelming numbers, even despite the fact she was able to correct some things that were a little counterproductive to her performance in her previous race. But again, she's a young 2-year-old filly that certainly has some upside. We're just going to find out where she fits in. I'll go ahead and tell you, here in the coming days and weeks, who I really like. Now that could very well change as we've seen some things shift in more than a 180-degree fashion after the outcome of these preps were contested this past weekend. So BELLAFINA punches her ticket to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies with a 6-length win in the Chandelier Stakes. Very convincing performance for trainer Simon Callahan and owner Kaleem Shah. They'll be, barring any injury, any setback, in Louisville, Kentucky at Churchill Downs to contest the 2-year-old championship for fillies in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies race at 1.16 miles. BELLAFINA wins the Chandelier Stakes. We'll have our continuing coverage of Super Saturday and Super Sunday right here on the CS Racing Report.